Hello, everyone. Welcome to Generally Speaking. I'm your host, Bill Lawrence. Today is July 7th, 2025. And what kind of fun things do I have to talk about today? Well, at the top of my list, I have a funny observation. Congressional hearing, the head of FEMA was giving his thoughts that the agency shouldn't suffer any cuts. It's really an essential agency, and they're running as tight as they can right now, and they shouldn't have any cuts. Well, he said something the administration wasn't happy with, that there should be cuts, shouldn't be, and so he's fired, he's gone, and the cuts were made. And the cuts were made to a lot of different agencies, such as the Consumer Financial Protections, which keeps us from things like banks trying to stick in hidden fees, and now we're stuck with them. And the Consumer Products Bureau that might make faulty products, and now you can't do it, you can't sue them about it, can't do anything about it. Or the National Labor Relations Board, if some people want to strike, they can't strike. If they want better pay, if they want safer conditions, none of that anymore. None of that for labor. And so, um, well, let me not forget weather people. You know, they want to cut the agencies that give us weather predictions, and this turned out really horribly. Just recently, there was a horrific flooding in Texas, and it killed 50 plus people, known dead. There was a whole summer camp of girls that were just wiped away. We don't even know where they are. Presumed dead. They're just disappeared. And this was because the weather people were cut. They weren't there to give the predictions of what kind of rains were coming, to give the warnings that would have given the people time to prepare, to move to high ground, move out of the area. And this is the kind of things we get from an administration that just starts slashing things for no reason. They have no brains. They don't know what they're doing. They're just going crazy, slashing everything left and right for no reason. Next up, we got the GOP, the Republicans, up to their tricks again with trying to fix the vote in their favor. They don't want mail-in ballots. Apparently, for some reason, which is beyond me, mail-in ballots tend to happen more from Democrats than from Republicans. So if they can stop mail-in ballots, that'll give them an edge. And in this particular case, they want to stop overseas ballots. So who would be overseas? Military people, diplomats, and any other people that we can't think of. I can't think of. For some reason, just being overseas makes you a Democrat. I don't get it. But the observation was that 18% of the people who would be sending in their mail-in votes would be Republican, and so the rest would be Democrat. And so, yes, they would lose some Republican votes, but they'd lose more Democrat votes. So they're happy to stop mail-in voting. This is just thievery, criminal, trying to win things by cheating. Um, and I'll have some more of that criminality in a little bit. What's this? Crazy man Ryan Walters in Oklahoma. He's insistent on the Bible being in the school, and we all know there's a separation of church and state, and we've established it to the point where we're all comfortable and we live with it, except for the people who aren't, and they want to put the Bible back in school. They want to put the Ten Commandments on the walls everywhere, and they're constantly are legal fights about it, and they constantly lose. And you think they would just stop, but no. Here's another fellow, Ryan Walters. He doesn't just want Ten Commandments on the wall. He wants the Bible to be taught. He wants the students to have to take tests that they can recite different chapters and verses and relate them to our country, how our country was based and founded on those things. At any rate, these are um, again um, going to be attacked. They have been suits are filed against them. They're going to lose, and the state is going to have to pay money, taxpayer money, to resolve these issues. Why do these lunatics keep doing this? They're going to lose, but it's because they are lunatics. Some people are frothing at the mouth. It's one thing, you've got your attitudes, your position. Maybe you think the Bible should be in school. Maybe think it would be better. But you understand, the groundworks that we've established. How we're the way it is. But some people won't. They don't want to have it. They're going to push it, and those are the crazy people. So there's that guy. What else? We got the birthright citizenship issue. Um, they issue is being brought before the courts. Are you going to um, send these babies to El Salvador that were born because the executive order was signed, and so now if they're born, they're not United States citizens. They've got birth certificates that show that they were born, but they're not U.S. citizens. So what are they going to be, just sent to El Salvador in little baby crates? So a judge has put an injunction against that, and that's going to be brought to court. But what I thought was interesting about this was that ordinarily this might have been postponed for a couple of weeks. This injunction, because the courts always do things slowly. We'll give you guys time to present your case, give the opposite people time to present their case. Couple of weeks, everything weeks, every step is weeks, months. It takes years before anything happens. But at any rate, the judge says, "No, I'm putting the injunction right now. I'm stopping right now." Why so suddenly? Because you can't trust the Trump administration. If they see an opening, they'll just take it and cry later, "Oh, it was an administrative mistake." And if it's not an administrative mistake, they will just do it on purpose, and we know they'll do it on purpose because it's already been reported that higher ups, people in the administration, told the lawyers, the people that filed all these cases, tell the courts to go f themselves. These are the words. This is the mentality. So the courts can't believe a thing that the administration is going to behave themselves. So they put the injunction um, right away. What else? We got um, Greenland in the news, and Canada, two countries that Trump attacked right after he was elected. He wants to annex Canada and Greenland. He wants to take them both over. Well, that didn't happen, but he certainly ruffled their feathers. And at any rate, Canada and Greenland got together and talked about mutually benefit arrangements, particularly the mineral wealth that's in Greenland. It's apparently got some worthwhile minerals there, but it takes a lot of energy, money to get it out. And Greenland's only so big. Canada's a lot bigger. And Canada made a deal to fund the extraction of the minerals, and of course, Greenland will get a piece of the action. Will get a lot of different benefits, and it won't be just Canada participating; it will also be the EU. So now, these two entities, in partnership with Greenland, are involved in a $3 billion project, and the United States, nothing. They're totally locked out because of the horrible treatment those that the United States, gave them. Another issue, something I had never heard of before. Another one of those abbreviation names, IMEC, IMEC. It stands for India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. What's that? It's another trade route that is economically advantageous compared to the Suez Canal. Um, traffic going from the Indian Ocean through the Suez Canal into the Mediterranean, where they can go to European ports. You can get a better deal if you can um, go overland, like through the countries there, such as Israel, for example, one of the countries. There are others you'd have to travel through, but the idea being here that there's a port in Israel that's great for getting your materials off the vehicles and onto the boats to just cross the Mediterranean and go to the ports in Europe. So this would be a savings, and Israel has a great port already for it called it's in the city of Haifa, and this was going to really be quite the production and give Israel a huge economic boost. This was going to be a really big deal, but Israel decided they wanted to bomb Iran. What's this got to do with Haifa? Well, Iran decided they wanted to bomb Israel, and not just, bomb anywhere Israel, bomb them where it hurts. And where was the place that was going to hurt? The port of Haifa. So that doesn't exist anymore. It's all just a bunch of wreck, and ships don't even want to go there because a missile might come out of the sky any moment. So this IMEC whole venture just kind of fizzled out and is gone. I guess maybe the Suez people are happy that they'll be keeping their business, but that's what happened to IMEC. That's what happens when Israel goes, bananas and just starts attacking people it didn't have to attack at all. Another item, democracy. Uh, what's with democracy is failing. I was watching a conference, some EU organization conference, in which a young lady, Clara, somebody was talking about how democracy is under attack. And we've heard that from the Democrats in this country with Trump, democracy is under attack. But it really is. And in this country, certainly from Trump, but not necessarily just from him. It would perhaps have been just as much under attack even before him. What's the issue? The issue right now highlighting free speech. The essence of democracy is that we can all discuss amongst ourselves our differences and free marketplace of ideas. But now you can't. And that issue is highlighted with people complaining about Palestine. The college protests in New York and across the country in the United States, they were horribly attacked and reviled and called anti-Semitic, and Jews are feeling uncomfortable. None of that is true. Jewish people were, sitting happy with the protesters, the anti-genocide protesters, but for some reason, and APAC probably has something to do with this. They're attacking anyone who's pro-Palestinian and calling them anti-Semitic, which has nothing to do with it. So another instance in the United Kingdom, there's an organization called Palestine Action, and they have been recently designated as a terrorist organization, even though there's nothing to indicate they're a terrorist organization. Yet now if they try to watch with their signs, stop the genocide, they can be arrested and charged with terrorism. And if anybody supports them, does anything that seems like supporting them, they can be arrested and charged with terrorism. This was a particular instance that the speaker was mentioning a fellow in Germany. I think he was a Turkish national, but he was living in Germany. He's allowed to live in Germany, and he had a website that he focused on the issues of Gaza and Palestine. And the European Union decided that this person was a threat to the European Union, to all the countries there, and they put sanctions on him. And what did sanctions involve? Well, they froze his assets. What's freezing his assets? He can't get the money out of his bank. Not only can he not get the money, he's now not allowed to earn any money. He's not allowed to receive money. He's not allowed to give money. Can't buy food. He can't buy medicine for his children. He's trying to take this to court, but he can't pay his lawyers. He can do things, but he has to submit paperwork. It takes weeks for it to get through, and sometimes they just don't approve it. It's like a horror story. And meanwhile, he hasn't been charged with anything. He there was a declaration he got in a letter. By the way, you cannot do anything. You're under sanctions because you're a threat to the state. But he hasn't been charged. There was no official charge. There was no going to the courts. There was no hearings. There was no due process. There was no evidence seeking. This is dictatorial stuff. This is authoritarian, where a state just says, we don't like you. We're just going to squash you. And there's nothing you can do about it. You don't know who we are. You don't know how to get to us. We decide this behind closed doors. You don't find out about it until after we tell you it's done. This is China's stuff. This is Russia's stuff. This is horrors beyond belief. Oh, next issue, ICE. ICE just rounds up people off the streets. They just take you and round you off. They've got quotas to meet, 30,000 a day. You don't meet your quota, you get fired. So what kind of a person do you have to be an ICE agent? Well, let's see. I'll get fired if I don't take you and ruin your life. If I don't sweep you up and maybe you'll get kicked out of the country. But I got a job, I got family to feed. I would just not be in that job. I would quit that job. But you know, I guess these people don't care. So these are the quotas. And at any rate, ICE is being sued now by California or Los Angeles. I didn't get who was doing it exactly, but they're being sued because why? Because you're not allowed to just take people off the street. You have to have a warrant, right? You hear it over warrant. You have to have probable cause. You can't just take people and 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 take them away. You can't do it. And where they keep them. These places are horrible. Nobody's like making sure that they're humane. That they're taking people and stuffing them 30 like sardines in places with just a floor and maybe a sheet for a bed. Cockroaches running around. Here's a piece of stale bread for you and everybody else there for the week. And they're horrible, horrible conditions in so many of these places. And again, it's the Trump administration going ballistic. They wanted to get rid of the criminals. Okay, get rid of the criminals, but they're getting rid of everybody now. And now now they're going after even people who came in legally, right? There's the argument. Listen, if you come in legally, that's the way it's supposed to be done. Well, they are coming in legally. They're going through the process. They go for their hearing, their regular hearings. They go to the hearing. ICE comes and takes them and says, you're out of here. What happened to the regular process? And if that's not good enough, if you go through the process and you haven't been swept up by ICE and you get finished, you get a green card, you even go the next step. Green card is in the last step. You become a naturalized citizen when you're finally you've got the full boat. You can vote. All the rights of a citizen are yours, except for one. You can be denaturalized. I never really heard of that. I don't know what rules there are for it. I can imagine when naturalization was thought about and ways of having a person naturalized that perhaps nobody thought, oh, well, we might have to denaturalize you. Well, the bill is now in Congress to be able to denaturalize persons, and they start off with, oh, if you've blown up a church, you know um, done horrible things, disastrous things, we can denaturalize you. And maybe there wouldn't be too much disagreement with that. Okay, that's what happened. Although you might still want to argue, look, you're naturalized. If you did horrible things, you go to jail. You don't get denaturalized. But that's what they're doing. And so, like I said, you do something horrible, but then there's a second level down, or if you do something less horrible, but I still don't like it. So it's still, you broke the law, and so you can be naturalized. Well, that's okay. You did something at least, but this is really going in the wrong direction. Well, it goes further in the wrong direction, that because below this second level is a third level, which says if you do anything that makes us think you're just not a good fit, then we can denaturalize you. This is like horrible stuff. This country is going downhill, downhill, downhill. And what started this? What started this? Is a Democratic a candidate for mayor in New York, Zohan Mamdani. He's a Democratic socialist, and he wants such crazy things like government-run grocery stores where you can get your food really cheap and still afford to feed your family, or you could have free transportation. You can get on the bus instead of paying $5 to go, $5 to come back every day. Things like this, childcare, all these horrible things. So the right is having their heads blow off. He's a radical Marxist, jihadist, communist, all the usual buzzwords, because he just wants to do some nice things. Oh, and did I say he's not pro-Israel? That's the biggest horror. That, which of course you know what that means, right? He's anti-Semitic. So the thing about him is he's a naturalized citizen. So that put the bee in their bonnet. Let's denaturalize him. This is what they're thinking. And so they got this bill up, and who knows? They might do that. Um, what else? All right. Next thing we got. I did the EU freezing this guy's assets and the economic quarter and the ICE lawsuit. Um, so the denaturalized. All right, on my other screen here, I talked about that crazy person trying to have the kids read Bible. Here's another crazy person, the young eighth grader, saluting, doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and she had been recently getting involved with the horrors in Gaza. And at the Pledge of Allegiance, she didn't want to pledge. She thought this country was bad supporting Israel, so she just sat through it. The teacher went ballistic, chided her, gave her all kinds of verbal abuse, and she was very upset. Told her parents, they told the school. The school told the teacher, you can't do that. She's allowed to sit if she wants to sit. You don't have to have any reason to sit. You can sit. So next day, the girl sits again. Teacher goes crazy again. Happens a third day. Teacher goes crazy. So that's it. The parents have had it. They file a civil suit. It goes to the school board, the state, and they respond with okay, we understand, we this was wrong, and we've dealt with this teacher. We've dealt with the teacher. So the civil the complainants said you've dealt with the teacher. Well, what how did you deal with the teacher? You haven't said a thing of what you've done. So now they're pushing it again, and now there's big money involved. And so once again, because people just can't do the simple right thing, and starting with this crazy lunatic teacher, because there are lunatics in this world, and that's what she was. Now the state again is going to have to pay gazillions of dollars of taxpayer money. All right, so GPS. GPS. We all get around with our GPS. The GPS system, like any other system in this world, is susceptible to a failure. I've never seen it fail yet. I've never heard of it failing, but it could fail. And most people know this. We know it. China knows it. Russia knows it. But the difference between China, Russia, and the United States is that China and Russia have a backup. They've made plans. They've put in infrastructure. If the GPS goes down, they've got backup. The U.S. not so much. Why not? Because the only thing the U.S. cares about is putting money in the rich people's pockets. Building a second GPS system doesn't do that. So we're just going to let that go. Ha, nice. Not only are there backups, just as I mentioned, China, for its part, doesn't really want to rely on GPS because GPS is an American, a Western built system and supported by Western equipment. So they've put their own satellites up and they have their own GPS called Baidu, and that's what they use. And so they've got their security set up, unlike the United States. What else we got here? Oh, this was a really interesting one. Uh, Caribbean nations. There's an organization of several of these Caribbean nations. I don't know if it's all of them, how many of them. I think it's at least five, six, seven, something like that. They wanted to express their displeasure with the genocide in Gaza. Say, okay, so they're displeased. What are they going to do? These Caribbean countries, so they're good for cruises. They're good for getting smashed by hurricanes. But otherwise, what have they got going for them? Aha! Glad you asked. What they have is ships that fly their flags. I'm not sure what that's all about. Apparently, it has something to do with regulations and what you can do or can't do that apparently you can't or can do in the big countries. There's some benefits with having these Caribbean countries flag your ships. Well, they're proposing, haven't done it yet, that they're not going to let ships be flagged that do anything for the benefit of Israel. Who would have thought these Caribbean nations can now stand up and swing a big punch? Whoa, come out of left field. What's another thing we got going here? Republicans in Georgia up to their no good voting rights things again. What are they trying to do? They're trying to put people in position, and this is the key to everything. Getting what you want in this country. It's having people in position. The Republicans got six majority Republican Supreme Court people on there, and now it's all crazy madness, all in the Republicans' favor. So having people in position in school boards, as governorships and senators, that's what you have to do. So they're looking to put people in position on the election boards. And who do they want to put? Oh, well, people who are willing to deny an election's validity if it's not for the person that they want. So they definitely have people already in mind. They've got one who's an election denier, who's really saying, yeah, it was stolen. I got another one who not only denies it, but actually refused to certify an election previously. So, these guys are going to make trouble next election around. And of course, though, that's just on the state level. But the Republicans aren't just state level people; they're government, they're federal also, and they're doing something about it. What's their next legislation? They've proposed that if election officials don't do enough to certify the integrity of the voting process in their jurisdiction, that their certifications can be overwritten, that the voting machines can be seized so that determinations can be made who actually won. And of course, you know who they're going to say actually won. But here they are starting the trouble again. Gangster stuff. We're going to take over your machines if our candidates don't win. Gangsters, gangsters, gangsters. All right, what else do we got? Uh, Next to last thing, a gay parade in Colorado. Apparently, in the gay parade, you can have other groups. It's a parade. Come on, you just got the gay parade. It's how many will there be? We want to fill it out a little bit. Have some more. Anybody wants to come. The Lions, the Rotaries. Whoever goes out there, have a few fire trucks go by. And so one group that decided to participate was the Satanic Colorado group. So they filled out all the paperwork. They gave their little card describing what they're all about, and a fellow is standing at the podium where the main everybody gather to watch the parade happens. And as each group comes by, he looks at their card and reads their little spiel. And so the Satanic Colorado comes by, and they've got nothing to say but how we support people working together, education, helping the homeless. That's all they're about. And they don't even believe in Satan. They just use the title, and the person's reading the card, and the last thing on the card is "Go Satan." Well, this just drove some people nuts, and you know who those people are. Dyed in the wool Bible toters. And so the city council president, who is one of those, said, "This is disgusting. We can never have something like this. And we're going to make sure this never happens again." They go in such a tizzy. They go so off the world. It's something that's just the word satanic is enough to drive them crazy. Last thing. All right, here we go. I was watching a track meet, woman's 5,000 meter. God, I couldn't run 5,000 meters. I can't run 5 feet, but at any rate, they're running, and I'm watching, and I'm thinking about them. Look at these girls running, and I'm thinking about men's track meets and them running. I said, what's the difference between the men's and the women's meets besides the fact that the women go faster? And the thing that I was thinking about was their shorts. The girls are wearing bikinis and the men are wearing potato sacks. Why is that? Do you think it's the girls decided we just like running around in bikini shorts? No, no. It's the men that run these organizations that say women have to wear these skimpy little tiny little outfits. They're the ones that design these things. They're the one who say, this is what you have to wear. And it's amazing. It just can't say. I can't say. Anyway, there we go. There's my rant for today. I think I'm getting better at this. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me some suggestions, and look for me again. Thank you. Have a good day.